We wish you were standing right here with us so you could hear the birds and the rushing water. But most of you know that we are standing on the new stretch of Greenway that is going to be formally opened in November. So we want to start off with asking you to mark your calendars for that grand opening date. And here to tell you about that is Ken Freeman, who is our Trails Coordinator for the City of Hot Springs Parks and Trails Department. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks, Terry. You're right. This is a beautiful day to be out here, and you kind of wish that we could share that with everybody, with all the sights and sounds and that we have out here, even temperatures, But yes, the official grand opening for this phase of the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail is been scheduled for November 28th at noontime, and so that'll be it's a long-awaited happening for us, and we're excited that we're going to be there.
So mark your calendars. November 28th at noon. We'll remind you again at the end of this segment. Now, Ken, this has been a long time coming. It reminds me of a sculptor who takes a piece of marble and then just peels away the part that uncovers the beauty, the beautiful form within. And this form has been here for centuries. It's you can even feel the history along the Hot Springs Creek, and many in our community are aware of that very rich history. But it has been uncovered in such a beautiful manner that I know there are people who can't wait to use this new stretch of trail.
Yes, and rightly so. That we kind of joke about every time there's a new stretch opened, that it's the best yet. But I think,
but it is,
and it is, and I think there will be a lot of people who will consider this the best stretch yet. It's also kind of a transition more from more of our urban or built up area to more of a wooded, almost wildernessy kind of feel as it goes south from golf links. You really get to be more trees and the water and the rocks and everything. You're just a little more out in the woodsy kind of a feel. Then,
even though you have cars passing by, you still get that feel. And let's establish where we are. We're right off of Golf Links Road. We're very near the intersection of Adams and Seneca Streets.
Correct, and you may be able to see in the background of us the bridge, the Golf Links Bridge that goes over Hot Springs Creek, and you might be able to see cars passing by up there behind us back there in the distance.
And it's been so cool the way you have used the bridge and built the trail to run underneath it.
Golf Links is such a highly traveled artery that the safest way to deal with that and to maintain continuity of trail and motion if you're on the trail is to go under it. And so we were very fortunate to be able to do that, and that's another fun part of this trail segment.
And speaking of the bridge, that's where the name of this stretch has derived. What is the name for those that don't know it yet?
Well, we unofficially call this the Happy Old Troll Trail because it does, as you alluded to, it goes under the bridge, and we all know that those old nursery rhymes and stories of trolls and bridges.
And even us adults can imagine that when you go underneath the bridge. So, how long is this new stretch? Give us some basics as far as what the cost and funding were as well.
This stretch connects at Seneca and Adams, as you said, to where the current end of the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail is, and it travels about 100 feet of asphalt. Will be till it hits this boardwalk, and then there's 300 feet of boardwalk. And then there's about another 100 feet of concrete going under the bridge to connect to asphalt. And then there's about 850 feet of asphalt go till the end of this current section. So all total, it's like 1,400 feet.
There have been some real challenges in construction along the way, correct?
Correct. In building the boardwalk, we had the design for this for where the trail was done by B&F Engineering, but then to build the boardwalk and to put it on pilings, the micro piles, the way that we envisioned, and we did that to keep from having to do excavation down here to actually remove more trees and to move a lot of dirt, because we didn't want to do things on the creek bank that we didn't have to do. So to do that, we used micro piles, which were drilled into the surface, and that was done by Foundation Specialties Incorporated, which is a Northwest Arkansas firm, and we did the boardwalk was with Permatrack. They did the concrete panels for the boardwalk, and so it's precast concrete pieces. So the design had to go from the design of where it went to go between the trees and around, to the Foundation Specialty guys had to put the pilings in just the right spot so that the top of the piling would be a place where they put the stringers for the boardwalk, and then after the stringers you could put it would fit the shape of the precast concrete pieces. So it was a pretty involved process, and it took understandably a while to get everyone's final design on that.
And when this trail is actually open, which should be about the time that this segment airs, people will be able to see some of the precision in its construction. Now, one nice feature is that there is a bit of parking near the beginning of this new stretch on city property that is related mostly to our utilities department. So we're fortunate that there's a bit of parking for folks that want to start here.
Yes, it's not an official trailhead by the design, but there is the old trail makes a connection out for neighborhood connection, and there is some parking across Seneca on part of the utilities property, and there's limited parking spaces available there until we get next phase done and or get a trailhead a little farther down.
Yes, and this is of course a multimodal trail. So for those who are new to experiencing a trail, what does that mean?
These multimodals are for people, for pedestrians, bicycles, people on rollerblades, people on skates, kids in strollers and wagons, and it's basically for about any non-motorized motorized use.
So bring your pogo stick.
Yeah.
I
haven't seen many pogo sticks down here, but
no. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What is next now that you've finished this major challenge?
Well, we're not quite finished yet, but close. But after this, at the end of this phase, people will notice that there's a kind of an asphalt cul-de-sac, kind of a feature at the end of this with some boulders, and that's just temporarily to keep us from wandering off the trail on the far end. But the next phase will pick up from there, and will not go very far south from there before it has a bridge across to the east side of the creek, and then we'll continue down on the east side of the Hot Springs Creek near where the Heritage Hot Springs Nursing Home is, down along that side about a quarter of a mile, and then another bridge back to the west side, and then be about less than a half mile from there to a trail connection to TV Hill Road, and so that's the plans for the next stretch, and there is A grant was applied for that project, and in 2016 the project was accepted or approved, and we're in the process of working through that project. We're not to the stage of putting it out to bid yet, but we hope to be.
Very good. Well, as we wrap up, we do need to mention that so much of the Greenway Trail has been funded by grants that have been many hours spent by city staff to apply and get those grants acquired for the city. There's, of course, been some local match. There's been the Friends of the Parks and other civic-minded groups in the city that have contributed to the Greenway and have their mark on it. There's so many people that have their imprint on this trail, and we're inching closer to the lake.
Yes, to the lake.
Right. We have to end it there, but by the time you see this, you're going to be able to enjoy the happy old troll trail, and much of it is thanks to Ken Freeman and the other members of the Parks and Trails staff that have overseen this project from day one. And next week we'll bring you more city news.